Welcome back. This is part 11 of Kin in Line. I've found this pile of mainly large drawings, but also completed woodcuts, a few etchings, etc. So this is really the exhibitable section of what I produced at art school between 1975 and 78. So most of these would have been probably from 77 when I did my third year. Then I did a higher diploma in 78 to keep me out of the army for another year. So I was forced to do 2 years of military conscription, and the longer I stayed at art school, the longer I delayed it, and the longer the term got. Anyway, this was really one of those completed drawings, and although one would say, well, this is showing progress, it's a long pose, and you basically just go through the motions, and that's what you come up with. It's nothing wrong with it, but not much right with it. This is a treasured drawing in my collection. I remember now that Jack Lugg did this. It was enough to dispirit anyone to see how nimbly he could put line down, just trying to show us what technique to use. I mean, the thing is, he never would have drawn like this himself. So this was kind of a way of teaching someone how to draw with all these construction lines, but yet it's a great drawing in itself. I mentioned that we did do anatomy. So we had this human skeleton. I'm not sure if it was actual or plastic, but I think it might have even been a real one. And yeah, we had to draw the thing and then label all the bones and everything. This is radius and ulnar look a little bit dodgy. But it is interesting to know what's happening beneath the skin, Until you do, you can't really draw what's on the surface, because I'm sure this fellow had a name. It was a sort of an institution. For decades, people drew this thing. Yeah. So I'm not sure where I copied these from. But to think that people like Leonardo would have actually taken human bodies apart and sketched them back in the day. Yeah, so this was really more object drawing of a different style. And you didn't really need to know every last bone in the body to be able to draw. But I think it helps to know that there's a clavicle there and there's a hip bone there, and you're going to have to incorporate that. It's got to show in your drawing. Yeah, I hadn't realized we'd done such so much work on looking at the muscles and stuff. So this was an important muscle that sort of goes from below the ear to the breastbone. And here's the famous deltoid in the shoulder that everybody's having gene therapy jabs stuck into. That name just still rings a bell, Latissimus dorsi. Okay, as I noted earlier, we used to sketch each other. So, there was Chris Coombs. Focus, please. Anyway, it will focus on this, I'm sure, because it's nice and bold. And that was me, done by Jack Lugg while I posed. That's what he used to do. The person posing, he would go to their sketch pad and draw them. Charlotte East, I can remember this old duck. I've seen her before. Anne Murray, also an older lady, used to often give me lifts home, for which I was very grateful. But she won't come in focus. Playing hard to get. Heather Tim, who I still am in sort of social media contact with. And this was Hugh Lugg, Jack's son, who would eventually emigrate. Yeah, Brett, also fine. It's hard to pick them up on this useless phone. Another sketchy sketch. Again, Mr. Lugg coming up with a great pose. Only one could do justice to it. Object drawing. You can see the value of object drawing. I'm only realizing it now. But this was definitely teaching me to use line to describe form. I mean, look at the way the line is following the shape. That's what it's meant to do. So for all my attempts at life drawing, it was in object drawing that I was actually learning to draw, bizarrely. Yeah, somewhat bedraggled protea. This is the kind of art that most people prefer. It's, it's understandable. It's a kind of photograph that you've just converted into a drawing. And yeah, you can hang that on your wall, and that's cool. But the problem with it, for me, is that it's kind of dead. It's like this flower, it's kind of dead. Though there is a sort of painterly quality about the line that I've used, and that's definitely something that I would have built on. Some of my future sketches from life, when I've got enough time, I'm able to sort of model the form properly like that using it. But I really preferred capturing a figure in a few seconds. Now this is the chess set I made for it was actually Claire Baker, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wait, this might be I'm pretty sure this is the one I made for her. I remember that. That was a night. Yeah, a lot of work went into this to make, 8, 16, 32 pieces. What does this say? This is the Progressive Federal Party that I told you I did a lot of voluntary work for. So there's some questions for me. Is there any? Yeah, it's a survey. I remember this huge drawing. Yeah. So again, this is what people would construe as a kind of a finished artwork, you know. You can put a frame on that and it'll look as solid and lifeless as anything, but it's a completed work. It's got some nice shading actually. I mean, I definitely by this stage had mastered shading. So this was late third year. I don't think it was in my fourth year, but it's a fairly good drawing. And obviously one has to go through this phase of a sort of a academic, I think they call it classical sort of training, before you can branch out and just do your own thing. I'm going to make this my last page because I'm running out of space again. But yeah, this clearly I was now already at home with drawing. I mean, these faces are quite interesting. This guy on the right seems to have acquired a horn. This woman looks pretty angry. And this was my old mate, Chris Coombs, and I think I captured him quite nicely in a handful of lines. Yeah, so till the next time, cheers.